720 living members, 2 emperors, 3 kings, 3 dukes, and it's giving us 19 renown per turn. And then look at our armies as well. Once I call in all my allies, we're up at over 50k men, and we have an inordinate amount of men at arms as well. Hey there everyone, it's Mellow Scott here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to become completely invincible in CK3 by breeding your own personal army of Dynasty members. We're going to be playing on Iron Man mode, and we're going to be playing as the Jarl of Upland because Sweden are overpowered for some reason. Let's give our character a good traditional Norse name, Chadder, and let's make sure he's got a much more apt physique. There we go, a shoulder to waist ratio that Da Vinci would be proud of. So the plan is to breed a lot of Dynasty members. We're then going to dump those into a couple of key satellite states that are going to support the expansion of our main kingdom. As I said, you're going to be able to call in your house members at absolutely no cost, as long as they're not vassals that sit underneath you.
If we can't get them out, we'll breed them out.
We're going to be playing as the Norse religion. Not only does this give us access to concubines, but also a couple of other juicy religious tenets like warmonger. We definitely need a suitable name for our dynasty of super breeders, so we're going to be housed Tonderkokkar. That's a Norse for something, you can look it up. And this lightning peacock is going to be our little mascot. So I've set up our education and traits so that we can do a couple of things. 1, cheese the North Sea Empire, and 2, which is more important, make sure our dynasty members are the most skilled in the game. And we'll obviously be doing that by running a successful eugenics program. Having one tier 3 congenital trait here, as well as having one from each of the other types, will let us strengthen the bloodline straight away. So to start off, we're going to be attacking Mendopad and Angermanland, so that we can get another duchy to quickly form the Kingdom of Sweden. We also need to make sure that we're going down the diplomacy lifestyle focus. Once we make the Kingdom of Sweden, if we go down the August route and get true rule, that will let us peacefully vassalize the majority of Scandinavia. Just make sure you're using befriend and sway schemes on some of the bigger vassals. We're going to do so with Jarl Sigurd here. We're also going to make sure we get a wife. It looks like we've been lucky here and there's a genius available, so we're going to snatch her up straight away. And here is the strengthen the bloodline decision I was talking about. We can do that right now because we have the required traits. This gives us strong blood, which gives all our descendants a much greater chance of passing down their Chad genetics. In order to speed up the vassalization process, we're going to need a lot of gold. So I'm going to raise all my armies, set them as raiders, and we're going to set sail to Ireland. So while we were off making copious amounts of gold by raiding Ireland, our wife has given birth to our first son. So we're going to call him Chadder as well. So he's going to become Chadder Chadderson. I've created the Kingdom of Sweden now. And in order to increase vassalization acceptance, I'm going to be using the money we've earned from our raids on any vassals we haven't swayed yet to increase their vassalization acceptance. Alright, let's speed things up now, because most of this is just the same until we get our empire together. We're now going to invade the worst part of Britain in order to get that final kingdom title to create our empire. We're going to be breeding a lot of dynasty members while we do this. I'm also going to be speccing into the learning tree for health bonuses because, we don't want our character to die before that 30-year time period is elapsed for holding each of those kingdom titles. So we're now into our 3rd generation of Chadders, and they have spectacular traits. Looks like we're very much on the road to getting our first Giga Chadder. We want to make sure we marry off as many of our daughters as we can matrilineally, as well as any of our unmarried courtiers, in order to ensure that more top tier congenital traits are spreading around our religious group. We now have enough piety and holy sites to reform the Norse faith and make it even more overpowered. We're going to create lay clergy and a temporal head of faith, which will be ourselves, and one other thing I'm going to do is make witchcraft legal. That's going to make it so that we get a much better spread of witchcraft through our lands, and it gives us bonus to learning. It also gives you the opportunity to make a witch's coven. That's going to be hard for us because we're going to have so many dynasty members. I'm also going for righteous here. That'll let us revoke titles from anyone who's not our religion. So if they won't convert, we'll just replace them with someone of our religion in order to spread our faith better. I've taken some lands in the Duchy of Mercia, which I'll develop later on and will form part of my domain. So I'm going to form a hybrid culture with the native Anglo-Saxons, just to make managing opinion a little bit easier.
A few moments later.
It's now 928 AD, and King Chadder is 81 years old, so before he pops his clogs, we better declare the North Sea Empire.
The King of the North!
It's now time to execute phase 2 of our plan. I'm going to take the decision to consecrate the bloodline. This is going to give us 1000 renown. I'm going to let us unlock a few more dynasty legacies in the bloodline tree. If we can get resilient bloodline, that's really going to help us. So we finally given up the ghost at age 89 after a long and prosperous life. Unfortunately, her son Chadar died in battle. I stupidly forgot to forbid him from fighting as a knight. We're going to be playing directly as our grandson here. Okay, so now I'm going to start using Confederate Partition to our advantage here, at least for this succession. I've been conquering the lands that are going to form up the Empire of Albia, which will be created upon succession, as I have more than 80% of the de jure lands. I've been giving a lot of counties away to members of the Tondercocker dynasty. Now, when the Empire of Albia becomes independent, I'll then be able to call those dynasty members in as allies. It will also start giving us a significant amount of renown, especially from having a family member as an emperor. I've now achieved enough prestige to get the by the sword cultural tradition, so I'm going to take that, and that will let us wage multiple holy wars in each lifetime, which will help speed up any conquests that we want to do. We've also ended up with loads of unlanded dynasty members, so I need to go and take a massive kingdom for them. We're going to go and invade West Francia and dish them out some land. This is going to be our main satellite state for allies. So we've won the war, but all the counts want to revolt against us. This is fine, we can easily squash them, and then that'll let us take all those counties, which is what we want to achieve here. Man, I wish there was a faster way to do this. So I'm now dishing out the counties to members of our dynasty. I'm doing this in a very tax efficient way, so our allies remain fairly strong. I'm giving each of them quite a few counties under and the duchy title. This is also a good thing to do if you are keeping them within your realm. This means it cuts out the counts as middlemen, who are taking a percentage cut of the tax, rather than losing money to the counts and then to the dukes. My new successor is a small child, so I've got myself into a bit of a tricky situation, and a lot of factions are rising up against me. Now, I shouldn't fret here, because if it's an independence faction where I've dumped a lot of my dynasty members, I can just make them go independent, and then they will become my allies, and then I can use them to fight against any other factions I'm at war with. I've got 3 wars ongoing now, but as you can see, I'm able to call in a lot of allies, so hopefully we can win these. And yeah, this is where we get a bit of a snowball effect, and I've essentially just broken the game. Because even in situations like these, where we're a bit in debt and have a lot of factions, we have so many allies, we're able to overwhelm any forces the enemy can throw at us. This is especially true because each of our house member allies have their own knights, as well as their own men at arms in their army, and that's a lot more powerful than us just massing a lot of levies from our vassals. As well, that dynasty members cost renown to call in, so you should always call in your house members first. You'll see that I was calling in everyone here because I was scared that I was going to lose. So we managed to deal with that succession crisis, but we've got a number of family members within that kingdom that are now our allies, so it's kind of win-win. One other thing that I've done that's quite useful is for the duchies that I want to keep my counties in, is make them Scandinavian elective. Because I own most of the counties in those, I'm basically just going to win them every time, and I don't need to worry too much about the succession. Once we get partition, we won't have to worry at all really about our empire splitting in two. Our genetics program's going really well, and we're getting Giga Chads, Mega Chads, Super Chads, you name it. Uh-oh, looks like I spoke too soon. We've got someone who's unworthy of the Chadder name. A spin cell. Oh, what's going on now? I thought we were the Jarl of Upland, not the Jarl of Norfolk. I think I need to expand the gene pool for a few generations. We now got enough money and piety to invade Germany, so we're going to do that, calling our allies again, and look at this. Loads of allies, each with their own knights and men at arms, so we're just going to absolutely dominate here. And then we can take the land that we've got from Germany and dish that out to our dynasty members. We'll keep it within our empire. If we have problems with factions, we can always just make it independent. I accidentally got my king too stressed and he has died of stress. Let's see if the succession is going to be easier this time, given that Prince Gigachad is ascending to the throne. I've mostly been educating my heirs in learning or stewardship to try and make sure that the economy is up and running and that development is at a decent level. Alright, let's finish up that war with Germany and then use the same tactics to see how much of the map we can conquer. It'll be interesting to see how much renown we're going to be getting and how big we can get our family. We've just taken Bavaria and we're dishing out all the counties to our dynasty members once again. One thing to note with the strategy is it does take a lot of time. I wish there was a mod that would do this. It's the same when you call them in for wars. You've got to click on each individual one. And I'm playing on Iron Man, so I can't add any mods, or I won't get any achievements. I'm going to beat the Byzantines into submission, and then we're going to declare war on the Abbasids. And then the superpowers of the game will be knocked out, and we'll pretty much have domination with our dynasty. This is absolutely crazy. 720 living members, 2 emperors, 3 kings, 3 dukes, and it's giving us 19 renown per turn. And then look at our armies as well. Once I call in all my allies, we're up at over 50k men, and we have an inordinate amount of men at arms as well. I took golden obligations on this guy, and it's also super OP now, because every single dynasty member that we get a hook on, we can demand payment for. I'm just amassing heaps and heaps of gold. I've jumped to 1146 to show you my empire. My satellite states are starting to get chewed up by my powerful vassals now. We've got bare dynasty legacies from all the renown. We're now getting 32 renown per turn at this stage in the game, and we still got hundreds of years to go. And if we look at our empire, it's just totally massive now, just chewing everything up. Renown 34 per turn. There's over 1200 dynasty members here, and they're just outpopulating everybody. So yeah, this is a really easy strategy. I've barely played optimally at all here, and I'm still absolutely destroying everything. So if you like this content and you found it useful, please like the video, and I hope to see you guys next time.